Welcome to our deep dive today. We're going all the way back to ancient Greece to uncover the wisdom of Zeno of Citium.
The founder of Stoicism.
You got it. You might be thinking, ancient philosophy, what's that got to do with me and my life today? But
it's incredibly relevant.
trust me, Stoicism has this focus on what we can control. Our virtue, our thoughts.
For reaction.
Yeah, incredibly relevant in our modern world.
Absolutely.
It's like a blueprint for finding inner peace in the middle of all the chaos.
That's right. And what's fascinating about Zeno is that he didn't start out as a philosopher.
Right.
So imagine this.
All right.
You're a successful merchant, you're sailing the Mediterranean, and then suddenly, bam, shipwreck.
Oh, wow.
That's exactly what happened to Zeno.
Really?
Yeah, around 300 BC.
Wow. Talk about a life-changing event.
Yeah.
So there he is, shipwrecked in Athens. What does he do?
Well, he wanders into a bookstore
Okay.
and stumbles upon the writings of Socrates.
It's almost as if fate intervened,
It's almost like it.
pushing him onto this new path of philosophy. What do you make of that?
It is a powerful example of how seemingly random events can lead us to unexpected destinies.
Yeah.
And in Zeno's case, this shipwreck led him to the world of philosophy
Yeah.
and ultimately to the creation of Stoicism.
Wow. And he didn't just study philosophy, he started teaching it out in the open,
Yeah.
in the Stoa Poikile,
Yeah.
a public colonnade in Athens.
Right.
That's actually how Stoicism got its name,
From the Stoa.
from the Stoa. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
But why teach in the open? Wasn't that unusual?
It was unusual. Most philosophers at the time taught in private spaces,
Huh.
but Zeno believed in making philosophy accessible
Interesting.
to everyone, not just the elite.
Right.
So imagine him engaging in these lively debates right there in the Athenian marketplace.
Oh, wow. I can almost picture it. So what were these radical ideas that he was sharing with everyone?
Well, one of the core principles of Stoicism is living in accordance with nature.
Okay.
Now, this doesn't mean that we should all go live in the woods.
Right.
It's about understanding the rational order of the universe, what Zeno called the logos, and aligning our lives with it.
Okay, so break down this logos for me. It
Yeah.
sounds pretty abstract.
Think of it like this. The logos is the underlying blueprint of the universe,
Okay.
the invisible force that governs everything. It's like the sheet music for a grand symphony,
Okay.
ensuring that every instrument plays in harmony.
I like that.
And here's the really cool part. Zeno believed that the logos exists not only in the universe, but also within each of us as our capacity for reason.
So it's like we all have a little bit of that cosmic blueprint inside us.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So for Zeno, virtue wasn't just about being a good person, in a conventional sense.
Right.
It was about aligning your thoughts and your actions
Okay.
with that universal reason, that logos that we were just talking about.
Okay, so being virtuous is more about inner harmony than it is about outward appearances.
Exactly. It's about living authentically guided by reason and wisdom.
Right.
And for the Stoics, true happiness, what they called eudaimonia,
Okay.
flowed directly from this virtuous living.
Now, that's an idea that really resonates with me.
Yeah.
In our modern world, we're often told that happiness comes from external things.
Right.
Wealth, status, possessions.
No, that stuff, yeah.
But Stoicism flips the script.
It does.
It says true happiness is an inside job.
Precisely.
I like that.
Yeah, it's about finding contentment and peace
Right.
within ourselves, regardless of our external circumstances.
Okay.
And this brings us to another powerful Stoic concept,
Okay.
the dichotomy of control.
Okay, I've heard of this one.
Yeah,
It's about focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't.
that's right.
But how do we actually put that into practice?
Yeah.
It seems easier said than done.
You're absolutely right. It takes practice, but the Stoics offer some helpful tools.
Okay.
Start by asking yourself, is this within my control? Can I directly influence this situation or this outcome?
Right.
If the answer is no, then it's time to practice acceptance.
Okay.
We can't control the weather, the traffic, other people's opinions,
Right.
but we can control our own thoughts, our judgments, our reactions.
So instead of stressing over delayed flight,
Exactly.
I can choose to use that time to read a book, listen to a podcast, or just practice mindfulness.
Exactly.
Is that the idea?
Yeah, it's about shifting our focus from the things we can't change to the things we can,
Right.
our own inner world.
Okay.
And this is where the Stoic idea of indifference comes in.
Okay.
They believe that things like wealth, health, reputation
Okay.
are ultimately neutral.
Interesting.
They're neither good nor bad in themselves.
Okay.
It's how we use them.
Right.
How our actions align with virtue that truly matters.
This reminds me of that saying, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it.
Right.
Stoicism seems to offer a framework for reacting in a way that leads to inner peace and resilience.
Excellent.
But wouldn't this lead to passivity?
Uh-huh.
If we just accept everything,
Yeah.
how do we ever make positive changes in our lives?
That's a great question, and it highlights an important nuance.
Okay.
Stoicism isn't about passively accepting injustice or resigning ourselves to fate.
Okay.
It's about recognizing what's truly within our sphere of influence and focusing our energy there.
Right.
For example, we might not be able to control the political landscape,
Okay.
but we can control how we engage in civic discourse,
Right.
how we treat others with respect, even when we disagree.
Yeah.
And in doing so, we embody those Stoic virtues of wisdom, justice, and courage.
Right.
We become active participants in creating a more just and equitable world.
So it's about choosing our battles wisely
Exactly.
and focusing our efforts where they can make a real difference.
That's right. And that brings us to another important Stoic concept.
Okay.
Apatheia,
Okay.
often translated as equanimity or freedom from passion.
Now that sounds a bit extreme. Doesn't that mean becoming emotionless?
Not at all. The Stoics weren't advocating for suppressing our emotions.
Okay.
They understood that emotions are a natural part of the human experience.
Right.
But they also recognize that our emotions can sometimes cloud our judgment and lead us to make impulsive or unwise choices.
So apathy is more about mastering our emotions rather than denying them?
Precisely. It's
Yeah.
about developing the ability to observe our emotions without being swept away by them.
Right.
It's about responding to life's challenges with a clear and rational mind,
Okay.
even when we're feeling anger, sadness, or anxiety.
It sounds like Stoicism offers a set of tools for cultivating emotional intelligence.
That's a good way to put it.
You know, for becoming more aware of our own internal states
Right.
and how they influence our actions.
Yeah.
But how did Zeno himself embody these Stoic ideals?
Well, one striking example is how he taught philosophy.
Okay.
Remember, he chose to teach out in the open,
Yeah.
in the Athenian marketplace.
Yeah.
He didn't shy away from public scrutiny or challenging debates.
Huh.
He embraced discomfort, even welcoming opposing viewpoints, because he believed that truth emerges through dialogue and critical thinking.
So it sounds like he was putting his money where his mouth was,
Exactly.
you know, living his philosophy rather than just talking about it.
Absolutely. And this brings us to Zeno's legacy.
Okay.
While his original writings are lost,
Oh, wow.
his ideas resonated powerfully with his students,
Yeah.
and Stoicism continued to evolve and spread thanks to them.
That's sweet.
One of his most notable successors was Cleanthes.
So Cleanthes was like the torchbearer carrying Zeno's flame forward.
Yes, he became the head of the Stoic school after Zeno.
Oh.
Cleanthes is known for his beautiful hymn to Zeus,
Okay.
a powerful expression of the Stoic worldview,
Uh-huh.
where he describes the Logos as a divine force permeating the universe.
I see.
Think of him as the poet-philosopher of Stoicism.
Oh, I love that, a poet philosopher.
Yeah.
And did Cleanthes have any students who carried on the Stoic tradition?
He did, and one of the most significant was Chrysippus.
Chrysippus.
Yeah, he's often considered the second founder of Stoicism
Really?
because he wrote extensively,
Yeah.
producing hundreds of works
Wow.
that expanded and systematized Stoic thought,
That's impressive.
delving into logic, ethics, physics in great detail.
Yep.
Think of him as the architect of Stoicism,
I like that.
building upon Zeno's foundation
Uh-huh.
and creating a more elaborate structure.
Wow. So from a shipwreck to a philosophical movement that spans centuries,
That's right,
that's quite a legacy.
it is.
But how did Stoicism make the jump from Greece to Rome?
Yeah.
Was it a sudden shift or more of a gradual process? I imagine it must have been kind of a gradual process,
Yeah,
like seeds carried by the wind, you know,
that's a great way to put it.
finding fertile ground in Roman soil.
You see, by the time Stoicism reached Rome,
Okay.
the Republic was grappling with its own set of challenges. Political turmoil, social unrest,
Uh-huh.
the pressures of a growing empire.
So Stoicism, with its emphasis on virtue and duty and resilience in the face of adversity,
Right.
really offered kind of a framework for navigating these turbulent times.
It did.
So it wasn't just a philosophy for intellectuals.
Yeah.
It was something that resonated with people dealing with real-world problems.
Right.
Who were some of the key Roman figures who embraced Stoicism.
Well, one of the most prominent was Seneca,
Seneca.
that advisor to Emperor Nero.
Wow.
He wasn't just a powerful figure in Roman politics. He was
Yeah.
also a prolific writer.
Okay.
His letters, like those collected in Letters from a Stoic, are full of practical wisdom on how to live a virtuous life, cope with adversity, and find inner peace.
It's fascinating how these ancient writings
I know.
still offer guidance for modern-day challenges.
Right.
We might not be facing gladiators and emperors,
Right.
but we're still dealing with stress and grief and the search for meaning. You know, those big questions.
Those human questions,
They-
exactly. And that's what makes Stoicism so timeless.
Right.
It addresses those fundamental human questions
Yeah.
that transcend any particular time or place.
So Seneca was kind of like the ancient equivalent of a self-help guru.
Kind of, yeah. Think of him
Okay.
offering these Stoic principles as tools
Okay.
for navigating the ups and downs of life.
And it wasn't just Seneca, right?
Yeah,
There were other prominent Romans who found wisdom in Stoicism.
absolutely. There's Epictetus,
Okay.
a former slave who became a renowned teacher of philosophy.
Imagine the resilience and strength it must have taken
I know.
to not only survive such hardship, but to rise above it
Right.
and become a source of wisdom for others.
What were some of his key teachings?
Well, as you might expect,
Yeah.
Epictetus placed great emphasis on the dichotomy of control,
Right.
focusing on what we can influence and accepting what we can't.
Right.
His teachings recorded by his student Arrian in the Discourses and the Enchiridion remind us that even when faced with external limitations,
Yeah.
we always have control over our own thoughts and reactions.
That's right.
That must have been a powerful message, especially for those like him
Yeah.
who were living under oppressive circumstances.
Right.
It's a reminder that true freedom can exist,
Exact.
even when external freedom is limited.
And then, of course, there's Marcus Aurelius,
Marcus Aurelius, okay.
the emperor who saw himself as a philosopher first
Really?
and a ruler second.
Wow.
His personal journal, Meditations,
Yeah.
provides this incredible window into how he tried to apply
Wow.
Stoic principles to the immense pressures and responsibilities of leading an empire.
Can you imagine the weight of the world on his shoulders?
I know, it's amazing.
Leading an empire while trying to live by these high ideals
Right.
of virtue and reason. What a challenge.
And yet his meditations reveal a deep commitment to self-reflection, self-discipline, and living in accordance with nature.
Right?
He grappled with the same human struggles we all face,
Sure.
doubt, fear, frustration.
Of course.
But he also found solace and strength in this Stoic framework.
So Stoicism wasn't just a philosophy for the elite.
No.
It was something that resonated with people across different social strata,
Right, so
from emperors to slaves.
right.
But what happened to Stoicism after the fall of the Roman Empire?
Yeah.
Did it just disappear?
Not at all.
Okay.
While its prominence faded during the Middle Ages, Stoic ideas were kept alive
Okay.
in the writings of Christian thinkers.
Interesting.
And then during the Renaissance,
Yep.
there was a resurgence of interest in classical philosophy,
Right.
and Stoicism found new life, influencing figures like Michel de Montaigne
Wow.
and Francis Bacon.
So it's like these seeds of Stoic wisdom were planted centuries ago.
Yeah,
And they've continued to sprout and blossom throughout history.
that's a great way to put it.
What an incredible journey.
It is.
And what's remarkable is that Stoicism continues to resonate today.
It does.
We see its influence in modern psychology and self-help and leadership training,
All sorts of feel.
all sorts of fields, yeah. It's a testament to the enduring power of these ideas.
It is.
It's like Zeno's legacy continues to ripple outward,
Right.
offering guidance and inspiration for navigating the complexities of modern life.
Exactly. In a world that often feels overwhelming and chaotic,
Right.
Stoicism offers this timeless set of tools
Okay.
for finding inner peace, cultivating resilience, and living a life guided by virtue and reason.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of Zeno and Stoicism,
Yeah.
I'm left with this thought. Even though his original writings are lost,
Right.
his ideas have echoed through the centuries,
Yeah.
shaping minds and influencing lives.
Absolutely.
And perhaps that's the most enduring legacy of all.
Right,
The
yeah.
power of ideas to transcend time
Yes.
and connect us across generations.
I think so too.
Well, thanks for joining us on this journey back to ancient Greece.
It was my pleasure.
Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.